Hello everybody, I'm JP from JP's Aviation, and welcome to the second episode of my 1:400 scale Tampa International Airport series. Today's update will take place in the mid-evening time from around 6:30 to 7 o'clock. So without further ado, let's get into it. Today's update will begin over at Airside D, and we'll start off with this Alaska Airlines 737-800, which is doing a San Diego turnaround. Now this flight is operated on the MAX 8, but I don't have that in my fleet yet. Gemini Jets actually just released that plane today as part of their August releases, so I think I'm going to pick that one up. And then above this Alaska plane and in focus now is this Breeze Airways Airbus A220, which arrived in from Huntsville, Alabama, and then we'll be heading up to Richmond, Virginia to spend the night there. Starting off with the southwest section of Airside D, we have a 737-700 in the Florida 1 color scheme. This plane arrived in from Atlanta and is getting ready to fly out to Houston. Then we have this normal livery 737-700 heading out to Dallas Love Field. Here is a 737 MAX 8. This one arrived in from Havana, and then we'll be heading out to Nashville in Tennessee. And then closing out Airside D is a 737-800, which arrived in from Indianapolis. Now beginning Airside A, this is a Spirit A320neo, which arrived in from Atlantic City and is pulling into its gate right now. And also arriving is this JetBlue A321, which is coming in from Boston. Deviating from the terminal for a second is a 737-700. This one is in the Canyon Blue livery and is operated by Southwest Airlines. This aircraft is heading out to Atlanta, Hartsfield, Jackson. Back over at the terminal now is my sole JetBlue A320. I really need one of the manufacturers to release this in the regular livery because I'm kind of getting old of this airplane and it's only the second or third update it's been in. But anyway, this aircraft is coming in from Cancun and is getting ready to head out to White Plains in New York. Starting off the United section is this 737-800 with the split scimitars. And this aircraft will be heading out to Houston. And here's the identical aircraft, another 737-800. Both of these are made by ngmodels, and this aircraft will be heading out to Washington, D.C. And then the last United aircraft for today's video is this 737 MAX 8. This is my newest model, and this aircraft will be heading up to Newark, New Jersey. Taxiing onto the runway now is a Delta 757. This model was made by Gemini Jets, and the aircraft will be heading up to Atlanta just like that Southwest plane we touched on a minute ago. Airside F is mostly empty today, but there are two heavy international planes here, which we'll touch on in a minute. First, we have to get out of the way this American A321, which is doing the Dallas-Fort Worth turnaround, and then the 737-800 doing a Phoenix turnaround. The first heavy for today's update is this British Airways 787-10. This flight is actually operated on a 777-200, but I don't have that model. And British Airways operates to London Gatwick rather than Heathrow. So this plane is getting ready for his late night departure out to London Heathrow. And then filling in for a Discover A330 is this EasyJet A350. Now this is obviously a fantasy model. I do have a Lufthansa A330 that I was thinking about putting in the update today, but that wouldn't have been any fun, so I put in this EasyJet plane. But like I said, it's filling in for Eurowings, Discover Airlines, whatever their new name is, and they operate to Frankfurt, so this EasyJet A350 will be operating to Frankfurt. Alright, the last airside for today's update will be Airside E. And we'll start with this Frontier A320neo, which arrived in from Philadelphia, and then we'll be heading out to Cleveland. Also on the taxiway is this Delta A321, which arrived in from Minneapolis, St. Paul in Minnesota! Now over at the actual Airside E is this Air Canada A321, which will be heading out to Toronto. Now this aircraft isn't totally realistic for the time frame on a Thursday, but I have seen this flight operate around this time on a Wednesday, and I really like this model that I have, so I decided to throw it in. So sorry I'm not being totally realistic today, but I think the EasyJet A350 kind of gave that away. And back to our opening shot is this Delta A321neo, which is doing the LAX turnaround. Now you can see that I have some GSE around the aircraft. If you didn't watch my 3D printing video, I would recommend you go watch that. I'll have a link in the card spot now on the upper right hand corner. But I wanted to get more GSE printed, but I've been having some difficulty with my printer, so this is all the GSE I was able to get printed. I tried to color the conveyor belt on this baggage loader right there, but I don't really like the way that it came out, so I don't think I'll be doing that. But I hope by next update I'll have all the terminals done. I have all of Airside E done, and then this is the only GSE I have, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to put some time into printing these little GSE pieces out. The last passenger aircraft for today is this Delta Boeing 737-800 and is doing a Cincinnati turnaround, which is one of the many routes that Delta operates out of Tampa that don't necessarily go to one of their main hubs. Closing off today's update will be the cargo section of Tampa. Tampa has a pretty big cargo section. I just don't have that many cargo airplanes, and I totally forgot to include them in the last update. So if you watched the last update and were wondering where are the cargo planes, well, they're right here. So this FedEx 767 is doing a Memphis turnaround and we'll be heading up to Memphis later tonight. And then we have this 767 operating for Prime Air, which will be heading out to Cincinnati later tonight, just like that Delta aircraft. So this will conclude the second episode of Tampa International Airport. I do hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time on JP's Aviation. Goodbye.